Welcome to SUSD Spotlight, your go-to source for all things happening within the district. Whether it's celebrating student and staff achievements, delving into trending education topics, or highlighting inspiring human interest stories, we've got you covered. Join us as we illuminate the incredible endeavors taking place in our schools and forge connections within our community. Get ready to be informed, inspired, and engaged as we embark on this journey together, spotlighting the extraordinary in SUSD. Welcome to another edition of SUSD Spotlight. Today we are really excited to have in studio Principal of Redfield, Amanda Rand, and teacher Ginna Cummings to talk about the innovative project that you've launched at Redfield. Welcome.
Thank you.
So before we get started, maybe you can give our listeners a little bit of your background, your story in terms of starting as a teacher and what you're doing now.
Okay. Well, again, my name is Ginna Cummings, and this is my 18th year teaching. It's my 8th year in the district. I'm an ELD specialist at Redfield, so I'm working with those language learners. That's my story.
Where were you before Scottsdale?
Before Scottsdale, I was actually in a charter school. When I had my kids, they had a daycare available, so it was what worked for me at the time. I did my student teaching at Pueblo beforehand, so I always knew I was going to be back, and here I am.
We're glad to have you here.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about your background.
Oh, well, wonderful. This is 24 years in education. I can't believe it. I'm getting quite old. My grays are coming out. I'm going to cut that. This is 24 years in education. I was in the Madison School District prior to this. Came over to SUSD as a gifted specialist, and then started working at Hopi as an assistant principal. I also taught there, and then went over to Copper Ridge as a dean when we had deans, and then got the most amazing opportunity to come over to Redfield as the principal, where I am very, very proud to be here. I actually brought Ginna over from Hopi.
That's true.
So she came over with me. So I'm so excited to have her, and she has been a huge essential part in just innovation in general at Redfield. And so we have a lot of opportunities that have come to fruition because of you.
Thank you.
So can you tell us a little bit about the project Unlocking Learning for Student Innovation?
Sure. So it's breakout boxes, and you can think of them kind of like an educational escape room. Students get a series of locked boxes and bags, just various different types of locks. They need to work together. There's a ton of collaboration. They solve just different puzzles related to academic content, and every time they solve something, it unlocks the next step. So it's just they continue to communicate with each other and build off one another.
Is this specific to your ELD students, or is this something that is available across the campus?
It's available across the campus. We actually have 9 kits for checkout, so it is available to everyone. Of course, I'm using it all the time with my ELD students. That's predominantly what I had in mind when I decided to apply for the grant. I wanted to find a way to make our CKLA Language Studio curriculum a little bit more exciting and interactive, a little bit more engaging.
What are some of the challenges? I mean, I think of an escape room, and I think about some of the different challenges. What might this look like for the students in the classroom?
So you could do it a bunch of different ways. There are pre-done games, 2,500, something like that come with the breakout program, and it's easily searchable by teachers. So, if I'm teaching a unit on adjectives or whatnot, I might culminate with a breakout room, activity on adjectives. But how I'm using it in my classroom is I'm taking my, language studio program, whatever I've taught, maybe it finishes with a worksheet. I might be cutting apart the worksheet and putting it in 4 or 5 different boxes. And I'm actually using Magic School AI to help me create a story, kind of turn the worksheet into a little bit of a mystery, and kids are then, solving the mystery to be able, to break out. So, for example, it might be something like, okay, we're stranded at sea on a desert island, and they might be figuring out the clues to make their way back, or a backpack has mysteriously disappeared, something like that.
So how have the students responded to this?
They love it. It is so much fun. It's completely gamified. I mean, it's just It's very engaging. They love it. We're using breakout boxes 3 to 4 days a week in my classroom. So
what was the inspiration for the idea when you submitted for the innovation grant?
my daughter used breakout boxes in her first grade class at Hopi. And so it was always kind of sitting in the back of my mind just as an interesting activity. And working with language learners, reading, writing, listening, speaking, it's challenging because they're at so many various levels, both academically and with their language abilities. So I'm always looking for ways to just engage the kids, get them to buy into what I'm teaching. I have so much to teach in such a short amount of time. As you know, Azella comes around in the spring. It's so fast. So I really need them to buy in and be excited about things. So, I always I gamify everything however I can. That's kind of a passion of mine. And honestly, it was just a few days before the innovation grant was due, and I saw an email from somebody, it might have been you, and I just thought, why not? I texted Amanda, and she said, go for it. So, yeah.
Amanda, you were talking about, too, how there's so much innovation on your campus, and I think about the little robots that your students work with. So it's not just CKLA necessarily where we're seeing innovation on your campus.
That's right. We've actually been the recipient of several innovation grants, so not just this one. This is our newest. We have Ozobots, which are small, tiny little coding bots. And actually, Ginna was on that committee as well, so she's been a huge part of that, and her kids are also using those. Anyone can use those as well. We just received a grant several months ago for a traveling makerspace, so we have students using makerspace. Once again, Ginna used that just recently, right before we started spring break. She was like, this is the best time to do this.
So we made leprechaun traps.
There we are. So, so many opportunities. And, we just sent our kids to Camp Tontezona, which is a STEM camp. So lots of innovation all the time. We received Charo's innovation grant just recently as well, where we are bringing rockets to our fifth graders. So our fifth graders will learn how to build rockets and then launch the rockets. So we're going to have we'll invite you guys because you would love to see that, I'm sure. So we're going to get them going with those rockets, and that's a continuing innovation grant as well. So that's something that we're going to be able to use year after year.
It sounds so fun and engaging. Can you tie it then to better student outcomes? Or do you find that they're learning and retaining the knowledge more so when it's this much fun?
Absolutely. I mean, when they're engaged and excited, their buy-in is greater, and they do. They're more focused and they pay more attention. It is really nice. It's awesome to see. It's fun for them. It's fun for me as well. It's fun for everyone.
And walking into the classroom and seeing our English language learners speaking to each other, collaborating, working as a team, that's what you're going for. That is the goal, is for them to have that language and that ability to feel tight with each other and safe enough to use language. And in Ginna's classroom is constantly having those opportunities, because we're seeing that engagement, we're seeing those kids talking, we're having the ability for them to use language in a capacity where they're not feeling stressed about it. Do I have to use the curriculum? Do I have to compete against other peers who may have the language better? So it opens doors for them.
Do you have other teachers who've said they want to do the same thing with their students?
Yes, we do have a couple teachers using them on campus. Our reading specialist is using them also. And it's just, I'll just go back to your community, what you were saying real quick. I just wanted to chime in that building community within my classroom is so important, because we do have kids that are at such a pre-emergent language level, and it is scary and intimidating for them. And when you do an activity like this, everybody can have a piece to be involved at the level that they're capable of being involved at that time. And everybody sees it, that they all have their own working part. And it really helps everybody to feel comfortable and to be able to take some risks. It's nice.
And taking risks with learning, there's a lot of opportunity to do that at Redfield. I think about the comprehensive gifted program offering and also the special needs population that you serve. It really runs the gamut. Tell us a little bit about your community there.
Absolutely. I like to say Redfield has something for everyone. Everybody is an inclusive part of our community. We want to make sure that anything like our innovation grants of any sort can reach the needs of all of our learners, pre-K through 5th grade, special needs, highly gifted, ELD. So our goal is to include and be inclusive of all of the population and ensure that they have the ability to be engaged, to be innovative, to be future focused, to have rigor. And so that is something that we really, really specialize in at Redfield and feel like every learner knows that they are included, that they are a piece of it, that we focus on them. And so I think that is Redfield. Redfield is a place for everyone.
And so if people want to learn more about Redfield, what do they do?
They can contact Redfield, go to our website, they can go to SUSD and search up Redfield, call us. I'm here to give tours, to talk with them, to answer questions, email, call, tour, come see us. Come see our amazing little campus where we have gardens and blue zones and A+, which we just received. So we feel like we've really distinguished ourselves. We are here to accept everyone and bring everybody in. We're so excited about what we're doing.
And congratulations on that A+. That is a big deal. Talk to us a little bit about what that means, because it's all hands on deck as far as participation in going for the A+, right? This is not just a teacher thing, not just an admin thing.
It's a lot of work. It's something that you are truly, truly being judged on. So when you go in to just the application process, that takes months. And once again, this one was on our team. We are so happy to have Ginna as one of our team members, but she was also on our A+ committee. So just doing all of the work to talk about who we are and what we do to make learners feel included and special and grow on paper is really a difficult process. And then getting that invite that we would like to come and see your campus based on your application is a really big deal, and that was really exciting for us. And then once they get on that campus, just making sure that they can see what you were talking about. So I can walk into that classroom and I know exactly what my teachers are doing and what the students are learning and all of the things that are going on, and I hope that everybody else is able to see that as well. And that was that piece when they walked through our classrooms and saw that we were neuroaffirming and that we had the specialized gifted program where students felt like they could continue to grow without a ceiling, looking at our gardens and knowing that we have those connections to chef in the kitchen, all of the things that we talk about on paper and they were able to see and just say, wow, what a really great culture you have on campus it was affirming because we know we have it. But it was a little bit stressful because you want to make sure that they see all of that great stuff too.
Did your community play a part in that too? Parents too?
Oh, huge. Parents left. They had a meeting with parents, and they left crying. They said, oh, the stories were so amazing. So hearing that and knowing that the parents feel so connected to the school and being able to just kind of show off that connection to our school was really, really special. All of our classified staff members, our paraeducators, our aides, our office staff, they're all connected to the school as well, not only being alumni, having their kids there, and just feeling like it's a part of who they are, and they were a part of that process as well. And so they got to have a little say as well, working with the judges, talking with them, and then our kids, oh my gosh, they're just, they love their school. They feel so connected. It's such a special place. And so everybody in all those populations having an opportunity to speak with the people who walk on our campus, that's the real deal.
They spoke with the judges.
They did.
Well, and you can't talk a kid into saying anything other than that which they're thinking.
That's right? That's absolutely
They're going to
true.
give it to you straight.
Yes, absolutely. And we have no say in who they speak with when they choose those children. Not that we would, because we really truly feel every child feels connected to our campus, and I hope that they feel that way as well. But that was really a cool thing because they got these special tickets and got invited to be a part of that panel.
Well, congratulations again.
Thank you. We're so excited.
Yeah, the external validation is really nice to have. You know what great things are happening. It's nice when people from outside come in and verify that. So at the end of every podcast, I like to ask my guests if they can identify someone who invested in your life, a former teacher or someone at a school that made a difference. Oftentimes in our profession, the work goes unnoticed or sometimes under-celebrated, and we like to elevate people who've contributed to putting you on the path that you're on today.
Oh, well, at the risk of sounding very cheesy, I'm going to say it was my mother, who's also a teacher. From a young age, I remember when I was in elementary school and whole language was the thing, but totally not the thing for me. And I remember my mom getting me together with a group of my friends, and she was teaching us the phonetic skills. And she gamified everything. She made everything a song or a game. It was so fun. And she continued to do that through middle school. She's why I'm here today. I want to do the same thing for other struggling students in particular.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Very inspirational.
For me, I think in my position currently as the principal, our teaching and learning director, Dr. Jay Gazinski, was a wonderful mentor for me. So I was her assistant principal, and so watching the way that she was able to build culture, work with teachers, her kind of laid back, everything's going to work out personality was really helpful to an A-type. And not that she's not an A-type, but she just has this amazing ability to know that mindset is going to get you through and it's all going to work out. And so that's always been kind of how I take my position in stride as well now. So that's been really helpful.
Well, thank you both so much for being on our podcast today, sharing with our listeners the great things happening at Redfield Elementary School.
And we hope that you enjoyed this episode of SUSD Spotlight, and will pitch us ideas for future episodes on our website, susd.org/spotlight.